interesting.
Yeah.
You were on episode 13 of the podcast, and now we're at 30. So
Oh,
we're
dude,
making some
that's
progress.
nuts. Wait, so do you do one every week?
In an ideal world, I would, but the amount of rejection and ghosting that I get from people is unreal.
I feel that,
I
bro. I feel that.
I ask so many people cold emails, like everything, and so many people say yes initially, but when it comes to the actual date of the podcast, either people ghost me or they have an excuse or they're a no-show. It's been a frustrating nightmare for me because I want to do one a week, but I've only been averaging one a month.
That's fine. That's at least you're doing it, bro.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
remember when I was doing that. I don't know if you remember the Assholes film, but that I had the same exact shit happen to me. It was just so frustrating. I couldn't even. I was like, I'm doing this film, never trying to interview people like this on a regular basis ever again. 'Cause it
Hmm.
was just crazy. Like the ghosting, the requirements that people are like, can I edit your film? Like, I want to edit your film. I want it to be like this. I don't like the thing I said here. Um, it was just annoying as fuck.
Wow, that's it's hard because you have that drive and that passion, and I
Yeah.
know from just talking to you in the past, like you want to do things, you want to get stuff done, but
Yeah.
some people their priorities are just backwards from what they say. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll do this or I'll do that, but when push comes to shove, it's like for whatever reason people just kind of give up or they make an excuse or and it's not, everything always falls apart. At least that's how I've found it.
That's with like everything though. Like with like YouTube videos, with like if you ever think about starting a business, like you think about starting it and shit just falls apart so quickly. Like,
Hmm.
and you just kind of gotta pick yourself back up. I just had a conversation with do you know Ryan Trahan?
Oh yeah, yeah. The Oh, you know him?
I know his editor. So I was just
Oh, wow.
I was just talking to his editor like a couple hours ago, and he was telling me about the struggles that they had a year ago. Ryan
Oh.
had Ryan had like 1 million subscribers, or like maybe three
Hmm.
million subscribers. So you would think that he was well off at that point, but he had to pay for a sound guy, cameraman, producer, manager, all of these things, and he was not passionate about his videos. And with each video, he was getting less and less and less views. He got to the point where it was just hard for him to make YouTube videos. It was just
Hmm.
he didn't want to make videos anymore. He thought about quitting, and um, I feel like if you're able to push through that kind of section when you're just so down bad that like you feel like there's no way out. Um, I don't know if you felt that before, but like it's just in that mental state where you just feel like there's nothing you could do. Like this is over. This it's done. It's done for. Uh, I remember I was at that point in the summer, and I feel like when you kind of push through that, I knew that if I pushed through that mentality over the summer, like I could push through and I could actually make this YouTube channel a thing. I don't know if
Hmm.
that makes any sense at all.
No, I get it. I understand you're coming where you're coming from.
So it was so inspiring to hear Ryan's story, to go from someone that had like 1 million subscribers, was struggling to pay for all of these people, and found a way to get back up and to be at the point that he's at right now on YouTube is so inspiring. And when I was at the Samsung event, which Brian was at also, your friend Brian was at this, we both got invited to this like creator collective group. And Colin and Samir was the first talk. And one of the first slides that they showed was December of 2019. The amount of money that they had in their bank account was negative $18,000. And
Oh.
like they said they said fuck it, like let's just get jobs. This isn't going anywhere. Like they were doing it for 4 years. They couldn't find any traction. And do you know the story?
I know Colin and Samir, but I don't know their story though.
So they gave up on their YouTube channel. Colin moved back to New Jersey. Samir stayed in LA to look find a job. And literally like 2 days later, when Colin had made it back to New Jersey, they got an email from Samsung that was like, "Hey, do you guys want to be a part of the Galaxy team for a year?" And they got that 1 year contract. Move fast forward to 20, 2022, and they have 10 employees, 12 employees.
Wow.
They're trying to move to a new space. It is so inspiring, dude, to like see that, and like to see that I was in a similar position where like I was thousands of dollars down the drain because I like made a bunch of mistakes. And to get out of that and to find some traction, and now that Colin and Samir are like helping me out, um, being very supportive, and I'm meeting all these other creators. um, I don't know, there's just something about kind of pushing to that edge. Not that like you have to do that to succeed, but I feel like a lot of people that are successful have had that success story of like just being at a place where just no options, you know? Not that I'm successful yet, but you know.
No, you're doing pretty good, man. You're doing pretty good.
All right,
You,
all right.
I wanted to tell you a quick story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think I ever told anybody this, but I'm sure you could relate. But when I started YouTube way back in the day, and it wasn't until recently I got really serious in all this stuff, I had this very bizarre mentality where I was extremely jealous of other creators' success to the point where it was very detrimental on my mindset. And I always was like, "Oh, how come this guy's doing so good? I feel like my videos are better than this
I feel
person."
that. Yeah,
Right. And then I did all the mistakes that every typical YouTuber makes, like sub for sub and trying to buy, I don't know, a bot to get you subscribers and, trying to get people to shout me out. And eventually, I don't know when I made this turning point in my life, but I started to change my mindset. And I think I learned this from Joe Rogan, where how he treats other comedians as his family rather than
yeah,
competition.
dude.
So I started treating other YouTubers as like my friends or my companions rather than my competition. And what's funny is that I had all these people on my podcast that had around 1,000 subscribers, similar to you at the time when we talked in December of 2020, I believe.
Yeah,
And when your channel took off, it like this honestly happened. This was one of the first times where I was happy for someone else's success and I
I
wasn't
appreciate it, man.
jealous of your channel. And it was very interesting for me because I was like, wow, I talked to Ryan, we're both going through the same struggles and, existential angst and all this stuff with our parents. And your channel was blowing up. And it was like that rejection from NYU.
Yeah,
And then you followed it up with that $1,000 iPhone commercial. And then things just exploded for you. And internally, I had this strange happiness and it was very bizarre. And I never felt this way before about another creator because like we talked and everything, but it's not like I've met you in person or anything like that. So I
yeah.
find it very strange that I had this very positive reaction to your success, and I never had that before, and that made this huge mentality shift for myself. And this was kind of weird because I have like friends and my wife and people I know that have been very successful on YouTube who have been mentoring me, like my friend Brian, that and I was just at his place earlier today filming stuff, and I've always seen other people's success and how much attention they've got, and when you kind of blew up, I was so excited. I wanted to talk to you and like tell you all these things, and but then at the same time, there's this weird moment where I kind of tried to not message you too much
Yeah.
because I had this feeling like a lot of people were going to try to latch onto your success and then your inbox was probably rammed. And I was like, you know what? The best thing that Ryan probably needs right now from like a true friend is some space because I'm sure there's a ton of people just trying to come at you with collaborations
Yeah.
and business opportunities and it's probably nuts, right? I don't
It was
know what
terrible.
yeah, I don't know what that was like.
I can
So
talk
I
about it.
told Yeah, and I told Brian, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give Ryan some space. Maybe in a year or so, maybe like see if he can come back on the podcast. And then all of a sudden, I'm on Instagram one day, and my friend Brian has an Instagram story of Colin and Samir on a stage. And then next to his little story icon is you, and you have the same story of Colin and Samir on a stage. And I was like, what? And I was like blown away, right? I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
what is going on? So I texted Brian. I'm like, yo, Brian, my buddy Ryan Ing, he's at the Samsung event with you because he's literally sitting in the same audience that you are. He just posted a story of Colin and Samir, and he was like, what? Really? Yeah, right. And it was like this. It's so strange how life works and how it came full circle, and
Yeah.
how I'm still extremely happy, for all the success that you've had, and
Thank you,
it's
man.
had this very strange impact on my own health and the way that, or not my health, but like my mental health and the way that I treat other content creators, and I just loved it, man. It was everything about it. Your journey was just awesome.
Thank you. I remember, dude. I remember looking up because I was trying to sit in the front with one of my friends, but I remember looking up and seeing this guy with like a long beard. I'm like, and then like I turned back. I was like, wait, a guy with a long beard. And I looked back. I was like, holy shit, is that Derek's friend Brian? I was like, no fucking way, no fucking way. And I remember for half the day, I was talking to my friend. I was like, I gotta approach Brian. I got to approach him. Like I just have to say hi because like this would be so crazy, full circle, where it's like, and I was telling all my friends like one of my YouTube friends that I literally grew up on like YouTube with tried to build my channel along with like our small YouTube community at the
Hmm.
time with Kevin and with Joshim. Remember them? Like
Yeah.
um, I just remember that I was like, this is crazy that like one of your friends was there. So I mustered up the courage to go up and talk to him, and we had a nice conversation. Sadly, the event wasn't that long, and he had like a flight early the next day. But like, it was just so nice to kind of get that full circle, and like we had to take a selfie to send to you. I don't know if you got
Yeah, yeah, I did. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what?
that.
It's awesome.
The crazy thing is like we've never met before, which is like I don't know. I don't know. I think that's kind of crazy. But I wanted to talk a little bit about like what it felt like to go viral because it's like nothing that you would expect. Like the start of 2021 all the way to like January 2021 all the way to maybe like September of 2021, it was such a confusing and difficult time for me, despite all the success. I mean, 6 videos in and you go viral. That's just crazy. You don't really hear about that, and you would think that that's amazing and it's great, but being that inexperienced on YouTube and that naive, um, going viral is not the healthiest thing for your mental health. Like you said, like you were assuming that people were trying to DM me and email me and everything. I got some of the greatest opportunities from those DMs and emails, but I also got some of the most like stressful times of my life during those couple of months. When my iPhone video blew up, I was getting probably like 100 emails a day um, from companies that wanted to help me out, from people that were just inspired by me, from content creators. And at the time, I was on that Gary V shit. I was on, not that Gary V's bad at all, but just hear me out. I was on like that Gary V, like respond to every fucking message, like be grateful for all the success, like, and that's all I fucking knew. Especially when you go from 2,000 subscribers to 40, 50,000 subscribers in literally a week, like, you're like, oh man, like, I have to respond to everyone. I have to, like, make sure that I show all of my gratitude. And that was so draining. I ended up having my sister, I ended up giving my email to my sister so that she could help DM people for me and help thank people for me. It was too much. I didn't know how to say no, and I didn't know how to ignore people. So for a good half a month, for a good 2 weeks, I was in a call every single hour from like 9 a.m. to maybe like 8 p.m. I was just in Zoom calls, just taking up every single fucking opportunity. And I was just trying to eat it all up. And it was probably the worst thing I could have done at that time. Also, at that time, I was getting pressure from my parents because they were like, you have 1 semester to figure this shit out. And if you don't figure out YouTube in 1 semester, like you're done. And literally on the last day before everyone had to go back to school, I fucking figured it out and everything went viral for me. So like to have gone from like almost giving up, I literally was about to give up on YouTube and start a production company. And I talked about that in the video. I wanted to start a production company because that was my main focus, was to start making money, not to do YouTube, because YouTube was this pipe dream that was never going to happen. Even though I got millions of views, I was like, this is a fluke. This is like, my main focus is on the production company. So I was taking on all these calls, not for my YouTube channel, but for this aspiring production company that I wanted to build. And so I'm trying to juggle that production company and the YouTube channel. And it was just a shit show, dude. It was an absolute shit show. I was in calls every single day. Every hour I had something. And eventually I was like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? Like, fuck this production company. I'm focusing all my attention on YouTube. And that's when I kind of, so I tried to scale my YouTube channel because at the time I wanted to have control over everything. I had a journal that I logged every hour of my life in, and I needed to follow every step that I wrote down. And because that's how I succeeded in college. I succeeded in college because I literally log every hour of my life. I was on the dean's list all 4 semesters, like, because I was just on top of my shit. I controlled everything. And I thought that I could control everything with a production company and with my YouTube channel. And that was a huge, huge mistake because in school, all you're focused on is yourself. So you can control everything. But when you're trying to run a YouTube channel and when you need help from other people, and when you don't know if a title and thumbnail is going to perform, you lose so much control. And at the age of like 19, 20, like I did not understand that at all, because all my success came from this journal. All my success came from control over my life. So the fact that I had to let go of these things, I refused to let go of them. And I would just come up with the most elaborate like organization plans. And I'd hired people to help me out with these things. I'm like, okay, you do this thing, you do this thing. And like together, we're going to make TikToks. We're going to launch a Patreon. We're going to launch a Discord. We're going to try to post every month. But the goal is to try to post every week. We're going to do all of this shit. Because at the time, like, I was just so clueless on how to make it, and like how to operate things. So I literally took in advice from everything, from Gary Vee, from my new friends that already had successful YouTube channels, from all these people that were like, start YouTube Shorts, start TikToks, do this, do that. And I did everything. And September of 2021, literally everything fell apart. I was like thousands of dollars like in debt. And I still to this day have to pay people. And also I was like losing subscribers. my views went down, and like I just like, and also the person that worked for me, who was a close friend of mine, like cursed me out and like just fucking left. Um, and he's like, we're like no longer friends anymore. Um, so it was like so much shit that happened, but I'm also grateful that all of that stuff happened. I know it was a lot that I just said. I hope
No, that's fine, man.
hope that stuff made sense. But basically, I guess the lesson that I learned from that immediate success is like when you grow like that, it's hard to understand who you are. Like for example, like you have like the greatest opportunity right now as a creator with no pressure to like find your voice. When you know what I mean? Like you can find your voice and like be free of judgment kind of. You know what I mean? But like for me, when I was like 6 videos in and I went viral, I had no room to explore anymore. That's what it felt like. I had absolutely
Mm.
zero room to explore. I'm like, I have to deliver, right? I have to show people that I'm the best. Like, I have to show people this $1,000 iPhone commercial. Again, I have to repeat that success. And so I hired people. I did all of the stuff that I thought a creator had to do to be successful. And listening to everyone was a huge mistake.
Mm.
Taking in so much advice felt like my arms, my legs were all being pulled in different directions, and you end up going nowhere. And so over the last several months, I like took the initiative to say fuck the views, fuck CTR, fuck watch time. I'm gonna do my own shit. I'm gonna post my own videos. I don't care if it doesn't get any views or whatever. I'm gonna do what I want to do, right? Um, and through that, I have been able to develop my voice a lot more. I've also been able to block out a lot of advice, a lot of unsolicited advice that I've been given almost every single day since my YouTube channel started um, losing subscribers. So even from my mom and from my dad, like what I learned is that you can't listen to everyone. Because if you do listen to everyone, you're so fucked, dude. Like you have to pick and choose, which is the hardest part, and it's a skill, I think, and it's something that I'm still learning. Um, so yeah, I just went on a
Wow.
fucking rant, but
No, no, that's good. That's a good segue into a question I really wanted to ask you was
yeah,
when we left off in 2020, you're in this very strange predicament where your parents were pretty much like what the hell is Ryan doing?
yeah, bro.
What is this YouTube stuff, right? And I was wondering if the growth of your channel to 106,000 subscribers, I think now,
Yeah, yeah.
how has that affected their mindset and their view of your YouTube career?
My dad still wants me to go back to school. I'm pretty sure it might be something else.
Oh man.
My mom really does try her best to understand, especially as I was like making a lot of money from YouTube. My dad was like, I remember this, like my dad doesn't give away out compliments at all. My dad doesn't admit that he's wrong at all. But I remember this one moment. He was like coming down the stairs. We were eating dinner. He was coming down the stairs and he was like, I don't understand how kids make money these days. That was the closest will ever get to my dad saying that he's fucking wrong. Um, I remember that. And my mom, she goes through her ups and downs just like I go through my ups and downs. um, they come from like a very traditional background. Like the way they found their success was through college and through like they came here from like a very poor China at that point, and like that was their risk. they came here for a safer life, and to see their kid decide to say fuck that and go down an unsafe route was very scary for them, and it still is, from especially for my mom. But like, there will be some days where I'm like sitting with her eating breakfast, and she'll be like, "You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Like you can do it. You can do it." And I love that. Um, so she's been trying her best to be supportive, and my dad just tries to stay out of it because he's seeing all the shit that I'm doing. Like, I traveled the world, um, and I also got to meet some amazing people.
Yeah, the
Um,
content creation house.
yeah, I got to live in Montana. I went to Qatar, Turkey, Argentina. I traveled around the country over the summer. Like, I met Colin and Samir, who were the ones who invited me to the Samsung event as well. Like, and have become kind of mentors to my YouTube channel. Um, so I've met so many amazing people, and I think that my mom's starting to warm up to the fact that, like, she's like, okay, what he's doing right now is like much more valuable than like going to college and spending $50,000 a year. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's true. It's hard,
yeah,
especially when, and some people won't understand this, but especially when you have Asian parents,
yeah,
education and how much they value a university and college degree. It's unbelievable how important that is. Like even for me, like my mom, she has like five brothers that all have computer engineering degrees from Toronto.
that's
It's
fucking
like,
nuts.
and I'm the oldest out of all of my cousins, right? So I'm the oldest of all the grandkids or whatever. And I was supposed to get a computer engineering degree just like all my uncles, right? And I went to
Yeah,
university for computer science and I absolutely hated my life. I hated everything about it. I was wasting money for classes I didn't want to go into and it was just terrible, right? But they're blinded by this value that they place on school and a degree, right? And sure, if this is like 1970, 1980s, 1990, okay, sure. But
yeah,
now in 2020, like degrees and industries become obsolete in 5 years. Like stuff comes and goes so fast now with the rise of technology that the value of a university degree, it's fading extremely fast over time, right?
yeah,
And this is something that I this is one decision I've never regretted was dropping out of university. It was one of the best decisions that I ever made at a time where I had nothing. Like when I dropped out, I had nothing. I was playing StarCraft and all this other stupid stuff, right? Playing StarCraft and basketball, right? And like nonsense. I was doing nothing, right? And then from
yeah,
there, I went and got a warehouse job. But the problem with parents is that, and this is strange because I have this now too as a parent, because
you
I
want
had
you
this
gonna go to
very
college?
strange, yeah, I had this strange mindset
Yeah,
shift when my daughter was born, where all of a sudden now I wanted my daughter to go to university, and I was like, wait, that's contradicting my own personal beliefs. And what happened is I developed the parental brain where my number one priority in life is my daughter being safe. And being safe is just going to school, getting a degree, and getting a job. And I was like, and I had to fight my instincts and emotions as a parent because I don't believe that is right.
I actually
So
think
it's
that's an illusion. Don't you think?
that
Like,
the safety.
yeah,
Yeah, well, definitely in our society now, but it's like a weird thing where when you develop a parental brain, safety and conservative options, it's like almost all you think about. It's very bizarre, and it was something
yeah,
that I never knew I was going to evolve that way. So I'm constantly fighting my instincts as a parent to follow my beliefs as an individual, and in some ways, I get where your parents are coming, I get where my parents are coming, but again, this is 2022, right? And times are so different that you can make it and you can be extremely successful without that piece of paper, right?
yeah. I totally agree. I keep telling my mom, like, Mom, don't worry. Like, I can easily get an editing job, like easily get an editing job if I wanted to. And like all my friends are doing graduating from college is getting editing jobs. Like,
Are they?
you know, yeah, literally like they're getting editing jobs or they're just not working in the industry at all. So like I have this opportunity at the age of 21 to like and I to just put in everything that I got into my risks. You know, I'm so young. Like, what do I have to lose? I have absolutely nothing to lose. My best friend just came back home and he was like sitting in my room. He was like, he's about to graduate college, and then he's gonna spend 1 year in undergrad in a graduate to get his graduate degree, and then he's out into the world. And he was like, dude, I'm so sad. Like, I feel like the rest of my life is gonna be so boring. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? He likes cars. He loves cars, but he decided to get some like major in some like government job or whatever. Which is great and all, but like that's not him. And I know that he's gonna hate it, right? So I'm like, dude, like you're 22, like like you have nothing to lose. You have absolutely nothing to lose. You live in upper middle class New York. Like, what like what do you have to lose? You know, like to spend 2 or 3 years working towards your car passion for cars. Absolutely nothing. You can always go to get your government job. You're not lagging behind at all. You know, um, and I don't know why people think like I guess I do know like it's all about safety, but I think it's like that safety is an illusion.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The safety being illusion part. What's funny about your friend liking cars? My wife's brother, he graduated university recently with a computer engineering degree, and he loves cars. Like he absolutely loves it. So when he finished university, he got like a job at a car dealership. I guess just to
Yeah.
start off, work a little bit. Or I think he was working there in the summer. And then after he got his degree, he kind of just stayed there and kept progressing, and he loves it. Like he loves it. And recently he got like a promotion to I think it was to work for Porsche or something. And
Oh
I could
shit,
see the
that's
passion.
so cool.
Yeah, like the
That
passion
is
in
so
his
cool.
eyes, right?
Yeah.
And and I talked to him. I'm like,
Congrats to him,
"Are
bro.
you ever gonna use the engineering degree?" And he's like, "No." It's like
Oh my
it's
god. It's
it's
like a
so.
college is like a 4 year vacation. I'm not even joking. That's kind of what it feels like.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I could see it if like, say for example, you want to be a brain surgeon or you
I'm
love
just a
medicine or
failure.
something like something very very particular, or maybe you want to be a lawyer and you want to pass the bar or something like a very specific type of education. Then I wholeheartedly agree with the school system, and go get a degree and go to college and all those type of things. But I think for the vast majority of people, they're making the decision to enroll in a 4 year program without knowing for sure if they love what they're studying. And I feel like that is what the biggest problem is, because how do you know? How are you supposed to know what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're 18? Right? That's a
Exactly.
struggle that I have. How? Like look at me. I found my passion at age 34. Like 34 years old. That's how long it took me to
Yeah.
find my passion for videography and storytelling and all this type of
And you're
stuff.
still young as
34
fuck.
years.
And you're still young.
Yeah. I know, at least for my current coworkers, I'm pretty young. But it's like, imagine that it took me 34 years to figure out what I want to do. So how could 18-year-old Derek have any clue with what he
Yeah.
wanted to do with the rest of his life? It took me 16 years of failure and struggle, to finally found that one thing that sparked, that passion and the
Yeah.
love and the joy. And now, even though, I make $40 a month on YouTube through AdSense, I'm so happy.
It's
Like it's
yo,
like
it's
it's amazing, and I love it. I just love it.
I sometimes I just want to shake my like friends and go like, yo, like, dude, if you were to live your life from the minute you were born to this exact second, you're still gonna be younger than your parents. Like, you know what
Mm,
I mean? And like to put that into perspective is like huge, you know? You are gonna live a whole other life and still be younger than your parents uh, at this age. You know, I think that's fucking crazy. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, for sure. That's
um,
wild, man.
I have a I have been lucky to be surrounded by young people, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds who understand that this is the age to take the most risk. And bro, we call them like like free thinkers, right? Because you're you're free from all of like the social norms and the status quo. You're kind of just doing your own shit. These people are like succeeding. If you want to talk about monetary gain, these people are succeeding at the age of 18, at the age of like 20. You know, it's very rare, but like to see them just pursue their own shit and not listen to people, not listen to what their parents are saying, and not listen to like it's really inspiring. I
Mm.
have a friend named Max, and he got into crypto when he was 15 years old. Everyone's like, "You're
Oh,
fucking
wow.
dumb. You're dumb. Like, what the fuck, Bitcoin, whatever." And like for years and years, he's like, "Dude, this is gonna be successful. This is gonna be successful," and no one gave him any attention. And one day, uh, he just saw a spike in his account, and like, and now he literally like just kind of take the next 10 years off and he'll be fine at the age of 18. I'm not saying like do it for the monetary gain, but that's just another example of someone that like went against the grain and had to fight uh, against people telling him he was a dumbass for like 3 years uh, until he finally succeeded.
Hmm. Wow, good for him, man. I love hearing crypto stories,
It's fun.
because
Yeah.
you, you know what's funny? Crypto kind of is a big part of my YouTube um, success because I had crypto for a long time. I think I invested $500, and then all of a sudden it was like 2,500,
That's cool.
and then I withdrew all of that money, and that was the money that bought my first camera and lens. So that's what started
Yeah.
the passion for videography.
Investing
And
in another passion, dude.
yeah, and it just I don't know, it just extrapolated from there, and it just became this huge path where, say if I didn't have that money, because $2,500 for a bunch of camera gear, maybe I'm too cheap to spend that out of my own bank account. But if I use crypto, it feels like free money, so I have nothing really to lose, right? And then maybe my wife will be like, "Oh, why are you spending all of our money on a camera, right? What are you gonna do? Take pictures?" You know what I mean? It's very hard to justify that type of purchase. But when Bitcoin is like, oh, it's just like some random ass cryptocurrency that means nothing. I was more willing to take that risk, and I love anything Bitcoin related. It always like has a place in my heart because it was a huge part of what got me started, which is so funny.
Yeah. I don't know much about crypto or anything, but I know my friends are really into it. So, but yeah, like I feel like so much of our generation is kind of constrained by I don't know, these like invisible like handcuffs or whatever chains. Um, we I talked about this with my friend the other day. The idea of freedom and independence. Everyone goes to college and university thinking that they're striving towards freedom, right? I'm gonna get this job. I don't care if I like it or not. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna make enough money so I can retire early and whatever. But um, that's not really freedom. What they're really striving towards is just independence, which is great, right? They can support themselves. They could buy their own food. They could be financially independent from their parents, but they're not free, you know? Um, I might not be independent right now, but I know that I'm free. I have the freedom that they don't have. And I had to spend the last 2 years breaking those barriers, whether that was cultural barriers between my parents or whether that was just barriers in my own mind, not thinking I could do YouTube, then believing I could do YouTube, then pushing through, um, the failure, then believing again that I wouldn't be able to do YouTube, and then like go that back and forth to get to where I am today. Um, it's a lot to go through. Um, yeah, I don't know, and sometimes I fear like, how are people going to discover this? I don't know if you think about that sometimes. Like, it feels so rare to have discovered your passion and to have like found what you wanted to do and to just pursue that without listening to anyone else. Like, how did a mass group of people discover this and work through all of the difficulty that we have to work through? um yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's rare, man. Like I especially when I've been doing like live streams recently on YouTube, one of the biggest questions I get is how do you find your passion in life, or how do you know what you think is your passion is your true passion? And it's hard because that is a question that only you can answer from yourself. Like cuz no one can tell you what the
Yeah,
answer to that is, right? And I feel like this is why it's so difficult for people to find what they're truly passionate about, because there's no guidebook. There's no textbook that tells you. The best thing that you can do is try a whole bunch of things until you figure out one that sticks, right? But unfortunately, especially with like our society, they don't really promote that idea. And I was talking to this girl from Germany, who is also a content creator, and I was asking her, how come it's okay to go $100,000 in student debt for 4 years, and everyone thinks that that's okay, but and it's not okay to go $100,000 in debt for 4 years trying to build a business, right? How come
yeah.
those two things don't equate? But then on the flip side, how come it's not okay to go $2,500 for a camera and a lens in 4 years and try YouTube? The initial cost of investment is nothing, right?
It's nothing.
But it's frowned upon, right? Like if I won $100,000 in student debt, or I could just spend 2,500 for my camera and try YouTube for 4 years, right? Even if it doesn't work, right? I'm not 100 grand in debt, and as you know, student debt is something you can't escape in
Yeah, yeah,
America.
yeah,
Like if you declare bankruptcy, Uncle Sam, they still want their cut. They still want that loan that you
yeah.
procured from them, right? So
That's
you
so
can't
funny.
get away from that. So that's what blows my mind, is this acceptance of taking debt is only okay for school, even if you're not sure if that's what you want to do for the rest of your life. That's what I think about a lot, is how come we view that as okay, and how come we view this content creation stuff as not, is when like I've seen like there's people making TikTok dance videos that make more money than doctors.
Yeah,
But that's our world. That's the world we live in right now, right? And what is 2025 going to be like, or what is 2030 going to be like? When the next Instagram or the next TikTok comes, because I'm sure there's going to be another social media platform that comes,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
Like, what if there's like a VR metaverse? I don't know, some type of new thing that comes out and that blows up, and then who knows? Like, who knows what happens from there, right? So I don't know. I think about it a lot, and I always end up with the same confusion in my mind when it comes to society, and I don't know what to think anymore.
I, I'm just like at this point where I'm like, I might seem stubborn by like going down this path that I'm going down, but like, dude, sometimes you just gotta stick with your guns. Like, you just gotta listen to yourself, um, and like you gotta be proud of the shit that you did. Like,
Mhm.
you got. I remember when like my business was all falling apart, and my friend was like, it was just like a bad situation because like he was not happy with me, but he didn't tell me that he wasn't happy with me until like um the very end where he just exploded and just, I don't know. It was just bad. And he was telling me all these things. He's like, you think you're good at all of these things, and he's like, you keep on saying like no one else is doing this stuff or whatever, and like it made me feel so uncomfortable and made me like why do you have to keep saying that like we're the best, like we can do this and everything, right? I was like, you know what, like in my mind I was like, you're kind of right. Like, it's kind of egotistical of me. And for the longest time, like, or for a long time after that, I tried to restrain that part of me. I'm like, I'm not gonna be that person. I'm not gonna be outwardly proud of what I'm saying and everything. And that like killed my vibe. That killed my confidence in myself, uh, and my pride. And that made me realize, and I'm only just starting to kind of gain that confidence back of like, dude, I'm the shit. Like I can do this. You know what I mean? Like I am a good editor. Like put me against someone, like I think I can make a great edit. I think I could like outdo that person, you know? Like what's so bad about that confidence? Just because like you know, it's looked down upon that to be confident in it. Why is it looked down upon to be confident in yourself, you know? Um I don't know. I don't know
No,
where
that's good, man. No, that I like that. I like that confidence. You know what's another story? I don't think I told you was when your iPhone video was blowing up. I sent it to my friend Brian, and the person we keep referring to is my friend Brian Francisco, who's like a super well known YouTuber and like amazing video editor, like amazing. And I sent that video to him on WhatsApp. I'm like, yo, check out this video. And then he watched it and he was like, "Holy shit! The storytelling and the editing is amazing." And he's like, "Oh, is this the guy that's on the I don't know, like the some I can't remember what he asked me if you were on my podcast or
yeah.
whatever." He asked me something, and I was like, "Yeah, that's Ryan." And he subscribed like instantly. He's like, "Yo, his stuff is so good. I subscribed." And it wasn't like me telling him to subscribe, right? And he was like right away. He's like, "Wow, his stop motion skills are like awesome, and the pacing and the music." And like the whole like vibe of the video was like it was so well done, right? And I remember he was just saying like how good your stuff was and that like you're gonna go far, right? And it was so cool to see that because it was just me blindly sending the link to your video to him. And it
Right.
wasn't like me telling him like, oh, subscribe to this guy, or I just I just sent it. Like, oh, what do you think of
Yeah,
this,
that
right? And
is
it
a
was
lot.
like so much praise, but sometimes it's hard to have that self confidence when you don't hear it from the people who know what they're talking about, right? And Brian is someone I extremely value his opinion because some of the people he works with is I don't know if you know that guy Daniel Schiffer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's kind of like I don't know 2 million plus subscribers. Like that's his boy. Like they're in that same world like of like top tier video editing stuff, and it's like when they say someone is good, that's when you know that they're really good, right? Like if your barber says that someone is a good video editor, well, like what does your barber know? He only knows hair
Right.
cutting, right? But when a true videographer says that this person's video, the pacing, the story, the music, the editing is on point, that's when you know that you're really talented. But again, it was weird because I wanted to tell you this, but I was in this phase
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
was trying to give you space, right? I didn't want to be like, oh, Derek's that stupid, like annoying guy that wanted to do the podcast and now he's like kissing up.
Dude,
I didn't want
message
to
me
be,
whenever you want.
yeah,
You know?
like I didn't want to be like that guy, but I was like, oh man, like your shit is good, and it was cool because um, your content is something that, and this is in all honesty, it's the reason I like your content is that it is unique and I've
Thanks.
never seen any other creator that creates like you. And the closest, I guess you could say, is maybe like a James Jani vibe, like this
You're right.
super
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well produced documentary style. But even then, his is completely different than yours. You have this very unique style. And my wife noticed this. She loved the part where you record, it's like a window of yourself where
Yeah,
you're
it's a
talking
photo
to your
booth.
mic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, why don't you do that for your videos?" And I'm like, "I'm not gonna copy Ryan's shit. Like that
If
that's his shit. I'm not gonna copy that."
if you want to do it, like take it. Like I have no like like I don't feel any like sort of uh anger towards people that take my shit. I'm
Mhm.
like honored if you were to take it, and if you want to incorporate that into your own work, you know. I think
Mhm.
that's the beauty of being an artist. I think you need to do that as an artist. I copy people all the fucking time. Like
Yeah, I think we all do,
I
right?
can't even I can't even describe how much like all in one video I might take from like 100 different fucking places. Um, but I think that's what an artist is. They just have a library of information in the back of their heads like they could just pull from. You know,
Hmm.
it could be music video. It could be this like one shot in a music video, or it could be a composition that you saw in a movie, or it could be a Tyler the Creator song or an album cover that you want to use as a fucking as your thumbnail. Like, don't be afraid to take things and
Hmm.
and make put your own twist on it and stuff like that. Um, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I have like, I don't know if you would call it like the Library of Alexandria, but I feel like I have a library of creativity where I have inspiration in pockets of my mind from vast aspects of content creation and filmmaking. Like, of course, I have like like the Matt Diavella type of stuff who makes similar content to me because I'm in the self development niche. But then I love like the Daniel Schiffer, Peter McKinnon, like super well produced, polished videos. But then also I like the more storytelling, more chill videos like that Jamaican guy Hines, where he kind of just talks and just
Mhm.
tells a great story. And I feel like I have like a library of things that I pick from where I try not to copy someone per se, but I try to get inspiration from what they do and what they like, and I
Yeah.
sort of try to spin it and put my own take on it. And the reason why I was sort of talking about your channel is because like I know of stop motion, right? And um, I'm blanking on the artist Wes, is it Wes
Wes Anderson.
Anderson or whatever? Yeah, yeah, and like so I'm very familiar with the style, and I know how difficult that is to make. Like it's so tedious and it's
Yeah.
so time consuming, and the attention to detail, and I'm always like, man, I feel like people, the regular viewer, won't appreciate that. But when I see it and I see it like so well done, like I love it, man. And especially like also the little cutout letters you have,
Oh
the like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's kind of like that cryptic Zodiac killer vibe. When the serial killer, you
Yeah.
have those letters, right? It's kind of, it's sort of, you get a sense of that too, but it's again it's unique to your own style, and that's why I was like, man, I can't wait to see what you have planned for the future of your channel.
Yeah, dude. The future of my channel is gonna be fucking crazy. Um, if you want me to dive deep into that,
Yeah, man, go for it. What's the direction looking like right now?
I don't know if you know the saying. Like, I think it's like a Chinese saying or something like that. But if or maybe it's not. Maybe I just saw it from a motivational video, but it stuck with me. Um, if you punch a tree 1,000 times in 1,000 different places, um, it won't fall down, right? But if you punch a tree in the same part, like constantly 1,000 times, the tree might fall. You know.
Hmm.
So for the last several months, all I've been doing is kind of experimenting, kind of finding like the weak spot of the tree to start punching, and uh, slowly but surely, I started like niching down on like what my channel can be, and I think I've gotten to a point of my YouTube channel where I just need to start posting consistently and punching the same part and like focusing on all the stuff that was emphasized when I started YouTube, titles, thumbnails, whatever. Like I will start focusing on this stuff now because I know what I want to say. I know what value I want to provide to the world. I think whenever someone asks me like, "Oh, like what's your tip for to be a creator? What's your number one tip?" Everyone says like, "Oh, focus on the titles and thumbnails, focus on your branding." I think the first, before you think about any of that shit, before you think about click through rate, before you think about CTR, the very first thing that you need to know is like, what is your voice? On what is your voice going to be on the platform? You know, Because when you don't have that shit figured out, and when your stuff does go viral, like, what value are you providing to the audience? You know, um, I just had a conversation, I told you, with Ryan Trahan's editor, and they have this saying called exploitative and redemptive, right? So I believe it's called redemptive. So um, they focus. So a lot of YouTube right now is exploitative um, content, where it's content that tries to suck all of the value out of the audience instead of give them value. So if you look at some creators, they're always trying to sell you something, or they're trying to make their videos so fast,
Mm.
um, to the point where you don't even like it's just, it's not even enjoyable. It's just like you watch this thing, it's like you're like hypnotized by this video, and then you finish watching it, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, man. Hold
Eric,
on one sec.
yeah,
Give
yeah,
me a
yeah.
sec. Sorry, dude. I just realized my laptop wasn't plugged in. It was about to
No
die.
worries.
Sorry. Sorry about that. But
No.
yeah, as you're saying, like um the
Exploitative
videos, yeah, they're like exploitative or whatever.
and redactive.
Hmm.
So like, I think when you find your voice first, you get to make content that actually just provides value to people, rather than just trying to get the views as quick as possible. It becomes
Hmm.
fulfilling, and if you can make a video living off of it, that's another plus, you know. But I definitely think the first thing I tell people is like, just find your voice first, man.
Mm.
Before you even think about getting followers, like, know what you actually want to do, because you can want to
Hmm.
do YouTube, but YouTube is so broad, you know.
Yeah, it's YouTube is like a big mystery. I find like even though you could get someone even like Mr. Beast who gives probably like the best advice, for YouTube creators and how to be successful.
Hmm.
Like a creator might need vastly different type of advice as someone else. Maybe
Right.
like you said, you have to find your voice. Well, maybe one person they already found their voice, but they're absolute ass with titles and thumbnails,
Exactly.
right? So then
Exactly.
that's their problem. So the problems can differ from person to person, right? And I find it very is very tough, when people ask you like, oh, what advice do you give for people, for to start a YouTube channel, or oh, how do you become a content creator? It's like, I don't know, man. It sort of like depends on you. Like, where are you at? Are you like me, where you've been at it for a couple of years and you love it and you've been having fun and you sort of don't care as much anymore about the results, and maybe you do need to emphasize more on the thumbnails? Because I know that's what I need to do, because my thumbnails I half-ass it because I hate thumbnails. It's like my
Yeah,
least favorite
it's
part of the
difficult.
process, right? So I know that's a flaw in myself. That is what I need to work on really bad, is just caring more about the thumbnails. And so many people, it varies and it differs greatly in order to find success on the platform. But this is why I love YouTube so much. It's like this grand mystery, like this
Yeah.
algorithm that no one knows, and there's streaming, and then there's like shorts is like another thing that I'm trying to experiment with, and it shorts blows my mind because it feels like I'm starting all over again.
Yeah.
It's
True.
so different. It's almost as if it has its own algorithm separate from the algorithm for a main YouTube video,
I
and
think it
then
is
just like, well,
different.
how does even that work, right?
Yeah. I think that actually the algorithm doesn't exist. Like, the algorithm is there,
Mm.
but like, the main thing you should be focusing on as a creator is like, is your audience, is the human behavior. That's the most important thing. Audience, like, the algorithm is nothing without the human behavior, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Humans at a mass scale can make memes popular. They can make trends happen. Like, it's the humans that like things and that enjoy content and that share it. It's not the algorithm that shares it. It's the humans
Mm-hmm.
that do it. The algorithm just kind of helps, suggest ideas. you know.
Hmm. You know what else really helped me? I think it was you that told me this. You told me to read Daryl Eves' book,
YouTube formula. Yeah,
YouTube's.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very eye-opening book for me because I thought it would be more about like specific algorithm stuff, where he was like all about human behavior and what the eye looks at and all these different things. Like it's about what human beings want, and if you can cater what interests to a human being, it will take off regardless of some stupid algorithm or not.
Agreed.
And after I read that book, I remember when I read that book, I was in my truck at work. I'm a courier, and I had like, I don't know, 10 minutes to kill before I picked up some boxes, and I was reading that ebook on my phone. And when he was going through this part about human behavior, I was like, man, this whole time I've been trying to cater to some stupid algorithm when you should be thinking about, your audience, the person, because it's a human being that is behind the screen watching these YouTube videos. And if you create a video that is undeniable, that is good, that has good story, has good pacing, has, good everything, it's going to be is going to perform well regardless if you cater to some stupid
Exactly.
algorithm or not. And I feel like we get stuck on this idea of algorithms and, oh, the algorithm is treating me badly, or the algorithm hates me and that's why I'm not growing. But maybe the real answer is your videos don't cater to human beings, right? So that
Yeah,
book really opened
it's a,
my
that's
ideas to that stuff.
that's a nice way of saying that your videos suck.
Yeah, exactly, right.
That's so funny.
but but some people might need to hear that, right? So,
Yeah.
well, I needed to read it, definitely, for sure.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's it's all about the human behavior, packaging your titles and thumbnails to making it look aesthetically pleasing for not the algorithm but for humans, right? Making the story compelling enough to have a group or community of people genuinely enjoy it, right? It's those things that grow a YouTube channel, you know? And in terms of my YouTube channel right now, I think I'm reaching that point uh, where I understand my audience. I think I could post weekly. Um, and it's time for me to focus on titles and thumbnails finally. I found my voice and I found what I want to say on the platform and who I want to be on the platform. And now I'm ready to share that with the world on a bigger scale um, by packaging my videos right, by making the titles and thumbnails good. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm ready to punch the tree 1,000 times in the same exact place.
I see. So, how does that look like? Are you still like a one man team? Did you do all the editing, all the
I'm gonna be a one
sound
man team.
design, color grading?
I'm gonna be a one man team for a while. Yeah. Um, how, I mean, honestly, it right now at this point, like I'm 21, I have a lot of energy. It's just wake up, either work on. Right now, I'm kind of going through title and thumbnail boot camp and like kind of like looking at all my titles and thumbnails and like improving upon them. And I've been getting in calls with my friends and kind of that's another thing, having friends and create other fellow creators that want to do this and like being in calls with them and like having that camaraderie is super helpful. Um, but right now I'm in thumbnail boot camp, but usually it takes me 10 days to make a video. Coming up with the idea and the script would probably take me 2 days, and filming it would take me like 3-ish days, and then editing would take a while. So, and then titles and thumbnails would take another day. So, like, altogether, 10 days. I just got it. It's just a momentum. YouTube's all about momentum, dude. Posting consistently, all the basic stuff that you've heard. The
Yeah,
thing with
yeah, for
like
sure.
YouTube advice is that like you can tell someone advice millions of times, but they have to experience it themselves to fully understand it. Like you could tell them it, they can hear it, and they can understand it, but they won't like understand it if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. It's almost as if they have to kind of experience it firsthand. But you know what's interesting about that though? This kind of relates to the whole age thing, where
Oh,
you
right.
said you're young and you have a lot of energy, right? And you have time and energy, so you can like utilize that. And this is why I always recommend like younger people to go for it, because this is the best opportunity that you have. Because if you end up in a place like me, right, where I wake up like maybe 6 a.m., if I'm lucky, I got like 2 hours to do all of my stuff in that day. Like I got a 2 hour window to do everything, writing or if it's editing, whatever I can in that 2 hour window, and pray that maybe my daughter doesn't wake up early. And then once she wakes up, it's like, okay, diaper, we got milk, we got breakfast, the whatever, books, toys, TV, get lunch ready. Then I got to commute to work, go to work, come home. Then we got to have dinner. Then it's like bath time and milk again. And all of a sudden it's midnight, right? So I
Yeah.
had 2 hours, right, at 6 a.m. So now I got to rush back to bed. Maybe I'll get 6 hours of sleep, right? So like my time, it's so limited when you're older. And not only that, like I also have to worry about like my mortgage and my property tax. And right now I'm moving and I'm trying to sell my house. I have a for sale sign on my lawn and no one's buying it. And I'm kind of screwed because my wife got a job in a different city. And I'm like in this stressful position where I have no time to do anything. And this is
Right.
why, for me, it's Saturday right now. It's Saturday night. I spent all morning and afternoon driving to where Brian lives. He lives an hour from me. We don't live in the same city. I drove there, spent the whole day there. We made like 4 YouTube shorts, made a YouTube video, talked about all this
Let's
stuff. I
go.
rushed home, right? I skipped dinner because I have no office to do this podcast. So I put everything on the dresser. I'm like, fuck it, we're doing this because I am so obsessed with this passion that I have in this work that I'm gonna make it happen with the limited amount of time I have. So if you're young and you're listening to this and this is something that you really want to do, then I say go for it, man. Because if you don't, you're gonna regret it later on when you don't have that time and availability in your life. Because responsibilities creep up on you so fast. It's so fast, man. And the time that you have to yourself to do these type of creative things, it shrinks in age, man.
Does your daughter inspire you to like keep working harder?
Oh, dude, when she was born, it motivated me so much harder to work more. Ever since she was born, I've cut off all Netflix. I haven't watched any movies. I'm so far behind on all the Marvel movies. I haven't watched the Eternals or Spider-Man. Like none of those. I used to keep up to date with everything. And I would play Call of Duty with my friends on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I cut all of that out because now my dream of building this business that I want to create, and it's not just YouTube. I have a grand plan for a business and I have a website and newsletter and all these things that I want to
Let's go.
create.
Yeah.
And because of her, it's given me an extra reason to push myself because it's not only for me and my wife. It's not about creating a better life for us anymore. Now it's also for her, right? And that it gives you this crazy burning motivation as a parent. Like it's so hard to explain because it's a level of love that you'll never understand until it happens to you. Like
Was it
you could
like
have
yeah. Was it
it's
like unexpected? Like when she was born, you're like, holy shit. Like it's
Yeah, it was. I knew it's life changing, right? Like I expected, it's gonna make me super happy, but
right.
the way it changes you as a human being, it's unbelievable. Because now I will throw my life away without thinking about it if it could protect my daughter. Like your priorities shift drastically as a human being, where I will do whatever it takes for her to keep her safe, to better her life. And I will push myself beyond whatever limitations I thought I had before. And it's draining mentally and physically, but at the same time, it's given me this extra drive and push. And it's very strange because it's a type of love. It's not like loving a girlfriend or loving a wife or loving your mom or dad. Like a child, it's like a part of you. And it's this very strange feeling that I've never experienced before in my life. And, I'm trying to like live in the moment and enjoy this whole experience that I'm going through. But at the same time, I'm not satisfied. I have this massive dream and I'm pushing towards it and I'm not quite there yet, but I'm still hopeful, man. I'm still hopeful that in time, I'll get there.
Damn. Because I remember Casey, like when Owen was born, for him, like he was like that was just like the drive that he needed to like go for it, and to be the best dad and to succeed. Man,
Mhm.
that's crazy.
It's that's why it's so hard to put it into words. Like if like other parents, they know if someone's listening to this and they're a parent, they know exactly that type of love that I'm talking about. It's unconditional. It's unique to one in it. It's unique to itself, and it's something that you just can't replicate with anything else. And the motivating factor of like there's also another thing where I don't want to be known as a loser. Like I don't want my daughter to remember me as, oh, Derek was just a courier the rest of his life. He delivered people's Amazon packages for, you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
is a horrible legacy or a horrible thought for me to know that, maybe that's how my daughter views me, right?
Mm.
And it pushes me to become a better human being, not just as a parent, just become the best version of myself possible, right? And it 100%, like unequivocally, I can't even say that word, that it's motivated me and just driven me to new levels that I never thought was possible. It's wild, man. It's so crazy.
When did that shift happen for you? Like where it just like click and then you're just like holy shit, go 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 like
It was so she was born in January of 2020. So like after no, yeah, so it wasn't until maybe like 6 months after, 6 or 7 months, when she wasn't really like an infant. Like when she was a baby and I could just hold her in my hands, it's
right.
almost like you're just holding like a potato or something. Like it's
Yeah,
nothing's
yeah,
going on, right? But it wasn't until like she started responding to words and then she could pick up things and then she could walk and you're like, holy shit, this is an actual human being. Like that's when all this stuff hits you hard. It's when it goes from this infant, helpless baby, and all of a sudden it's like a crawling, walking, screaming
yeah.
adult, not adult, child that can actually say words. And she can say things now. Like she'll say, "Oh, Dada." Like when I came home from editing, she's like, "Oh, Dada, change my diaper." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I just got home from making all these videos. You want me to change your diaper?" I'm like, "All right, let's go." Right?
Damn. It's so interesting to hear like that. Um, I'm always interested like to see like what made people click and to make that transition from like StarCraft and basketball
Mm,
to like let's fucking go like and it's only been like 2 years, right? Since
yeah, yeah.
really started grinding it out. Like how do you feel as a person like from when you started to now?
When I started, like seriously started in like maybe 2017 or 20, no, not in 2017. Didn't really, those videos didn't really count. We'll say maybe 2019 was when I really started, and I made a first video where I wanted to get in shape, because if I was going to give people advice in the self-development niche, I can't be a fat slob that has this like beer
Yeah.
belly, no shoulders, weak as shit. So like I tried to get ripped and I tried to lean down. I started to eat healthy. I cut out sugar and all this bullshit fast food. And as soon as that journey started, it snowballed into this unbelievable thing where now I'm exercising all the time. I'm eating healthy and I'm reading a shitload of books. Like I was someone that would never read books. I would never pick up a book. If like you give me a textbook in school, I'm gonna light that thing on fire. I'm gonna throw it in the garbage. I'm not reading that. I'm not
Same,
reading
bro. Yeah.
pre-calculus. Like you're out of
Yeah.
your mind. I'm not reading that. There's no way. But now I have to read every day. I'm obsessed with reading because I built this like habit, and it's completely transformed my life. Not only physically, but like mentally. I am such in a better place in life where I'm not always bitching about the government. I'm not always bitching about taxes and the weather and all this like stupid things that my coworkers talk about all the time. And from 2019 up until 2022 today, I've gone through like an amazing self-development transformation, like especially like mentally in my mind. I am so much like stronger mentally, and the biggest change for sure is like overall happiness. Like I've never been this happy in my entire life. Like every day I wake up, even on Monday, most people wake up on Monday, they dread going to work, they dread the commute. I love it. Let's go Monday morning. All right, we got a full week. We're gonna do this YouTube video. We're gonna do this live stream. We're gonna do this podcast. Right? I'm gonna do my 25 hours at work. I'm gonna play with my daughter. We're gonna get bubble tea on the weekend. I don't know, whatever. We're gonna do all these things, and I love every moment in life, and I like I owe it all to this niche of self development, of bettering myself and becoming the best human being I can. And having my daughter, it just took that to a completely other level, and it just I can't even explain it, but it's amazing. Like I'm a completely changed person now than I was in 2019.
That's crazy. Because I feel a lot of ways the same way. I was a bum in high school, absolute bum in high school. Did not give a shit about school. Played Minecraft all day, and like I don't know. I don't. I honestly don't know what clicked. I think it was the fear, and especially because I was going to college. I don't know what it was though. Like I can't point it out. It was probably the self development niche as well. Like I remember listening to motivational videos back then and just going crazy afterwards. Um, but it's always like so fun to listen to like other people's stories on like how they made their transformation, and like we're all on the same journey together to become better people, uh, like tougher people. Um, I don't know. I love it.
Hmm. What was one of the biggest changes for me
Yeah.
was like just changing my diet and exercise. It
Hmm.
created this foundation for everything else. Because before I was someone that would always get tired. Like I always felt lethargic, and then I'd have some pasta for dinner or lunch and I want to go take a nap, and I just always felt like shit, and I just felt slow. I felt really slow. And when I started going to the gym, I remember I bench pressed for like the first time in my life, and my friend put 25-pound plates on each side of the bar, so that's 95 pounds. And I benched the bar, and I couldn't get it off my chest, and they all laughed at me. Like my friends were like, "What the hell? You can't even bench 95 pounds. This was like the warm up set." And I was like so embarrassed. Like because I was my whole life I've been scrawny and skinny
Right.
and weak.
Yeah.
Like I was 150 pounds, 145 pounds, like, and I'm 5'10. Like I'm not like super short or something. Like I'm 5'10 and I'm 140. Like that's nothing. That's like a stick. And I was so unbelievably weak. And then I slowly built up, and now like I'm at 185 for my bench press, right? And
Okay.
and that gave me so much self confidence. And not only self confidence, it improved the amount of energy I had. So it like the combination of having more energy plus confidence in yourself will do a human being wonders. It's amazing, right? You feel so good about yourself. You feel like you can't fail at anything, right? And it just
Yeah.
makes you strive to better your life and reach for things that you never thought were possible before. Like even doing this podcast, right? I was never comfortable talking to people on camera, right? I always stuttered, and I always had like a very monotone voice because I'm extremely introverted, and I always thought I'm boring. But I had this newfound confidence and energy, like fuck it, I'm going for it. Let's do it. Let's do this podcast. Let's do these streams. Let's do these YouTube videos. It's fun. I
Yeah.
love to do it, and all of those things combined together just it changed my life completely. And I don't think I could ever go back to StarCraft and gummy bears and
Yeah.
all
I
that
feel
all
that.
that nonsense.
You know what's funny is like my biggest fear in life is to go back to the person that I was before. My
Mm.
absolute biggest fear. Um, so when from 2018 to like 2020, I was just on some crack cocaine shit. Like I was like I was just like nonstop working, 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. like just on this fucking grind, like logging every hour of my life. And I fucking loved it. It was just like this, it was like a kink. It was like I loved the pain so much. And every time I didn't go through on whatever I was doing, like I beat myself up over it. Um, and I remember sometime it was during COVID where everything was shut down. I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't do everything, and I all of a sudden like I stopped one day and I kind of just stopped doing all the habits that I kind of had. I was reading all the time. I was working out all the time. I was doing all this stuff. I was talking to my friend about this. I was like, damn, we're like, and to this day, like, I don't work out as much as I used to. Not even close. Like, I was like a gym rat back then. I'm not even close anymore. Like, um, also don't keep up with habits as much. But also, and I remember talking to my friend, I was like, dude, did I lose everything? Did I just lose everything I worked for the last 3 years? All the habits I built, all of this stuff because like I don't know. I just feel like, especially like a couple months ago, I just felt so like bad. I was beating myself up over all this stuff, despite like I was still working long hours on YouTube. It's just that I wasn't keeping up with a bunch of habits and stuff like that. And my friend felt the same way. I was like, damn, like this is gone. Like, what happened to like my superpower, my like crack cocaine, like habits? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, why am I normal again? Like, I'm waking up at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Like, what the fuck? Why am I not waking up at like 5 a.m. anymore? Why can't I do that? Like, why am I going to sleep at 2 a.m. now? Like, why am I not working out? And I remember beating myself up over that throughout 2021. And just very recently, maybe a couple months ago, I kind of like came to the acceptance that like humans weren't meant to be that perfect. Like you can mess up, you can fuck up, you can not work out for a week, and it's okay. Like um, it's not sustainable to be doing those crazy habits the way that I was doing it. It was actually kind of unhealthy, and I don't know. I'm much more like mellow with things now. But that doesn't mean I'm not working hard. That doesn't mean that I'm not putting in the effort to do things. It's just like I want to put my focus on YouTube right now. And it's okay that like I'm only running like, a couple miles a week. Or like it's okay that I'm like not focused on like educating myself on finances right now because I want to do YouTube. And I don't know, having that mindset of just like it's okay to sleep until 9 a.m. It's okay to sleep here and like hang out with your friends and stuff like that. It's been a I feel not so like I don't feel like I'm beating myself up as much now, and I'm
Hmm.
still moving forward. I feel.
Hmm. It sounds like you have like a more balanced perspective when it comes to life. You know what's weird? That's something that I hear a lot from content creators is this idea of balance. Like you need to sure it's good to obsess about YouTube and go after like the thing that you're passionate about, but it's also you got to have some downtime. You got to have some away time. You got to have some
Yeah.
time with friends and family. And this is something that I've heard a lot. It's like, balance, and mental health. And I think the biggest key is like not getting burnt out, right? Because that's probably my fear too as a content creator is getting burnt out, quitting all this self development stuff, and becoming a fat
Yeah.
slob that plays StarCraft again. Like deep down,
Exactly.
I know that's my biggest fear, right? Is going back to the old version of me who was pathetic and weak. And I feel like burnout plays a huge part of that, and trying to
Oh,
live a more
100%.
balanced life is huge, right?
Yeah. Actually, that's what it was. I was completely burnt out. I was like done. I was like, I never thought I would ever get burnt out in my life because I was just on some high shit. Like I can't even describe it. Like I could do anything. Like you could punch me in the face, but like you know what I mean? Like it was but then like all of a sudden one day I was just like, bro, I'm tired. I'm so tired and I don't want to do anything.
Mm.
And I felt so guilty for not wanting to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a part of like the motivation, self-development world that like kind of fucks you over in some ways where it's like you gotta keep going, you gotta keep going. But
Hmm.
I agree, man. Like, I don't know if it's a balance because I don't think there ever is a balance, but like, it's giving yourself grace. Like, I'm gonna play Overwatch after this. After this podcast, I'm gonna
Nice.
play Overwatch. Like, the last, I spent the last couple hours working on titles and thumbnails, getting into phone calls and all of that stuff. Like, I'm gonna give myself an hour or two twice a week to go play video games or to go hang out with friends and do whatever, you know?
Hmm. I feel like that's a healthy perspective to have. And
Yeah.
man, I would love to know what that feeling is like, where you wake up and your subscribers and your views is going nuts. And you know what? I have another thing I wanted to tell you that I haven't really
Yeah.
told anyone about. You know, I'm very weird with like secretive stuff. So I have a folder on my computer titled Motivation. And inside is random screenshots of random things that helps motivate me. And for whatever reason, I have a file in there titled Ryan Ing Growth. And the reason I
Damn,
saved
bro,
this
that is a
was,
lot.
yeah, I'm not.
That's
I'll send it to you after. This is a real thing, and you can see when it was created. So I have a file in there called ryaningrowth.jpg, and I wanted to send this to you. My plan was to send this to you a year from the day we did our podcast, right? As
Mhm.
kind of like a reminder of where you came from. And what it was a screenshot of your Social Blade account. And this is great for anyone out there that's listening to this podcast, that how far you can come as a YouTube content creator. And in January, Christmas on January 2020, you had 1,170 subscribers and you were gaining 117 views per day, right? And if you fast forward it just until, let me see here, fast forward it to January 11th, so maybe 2 weeks later, you're getting 173,000 views in a day. And you're up to 25,000 subscribers. And I remember this moment where I saw this success of your channel, and this was very big for me because you were a creator that is gonna sound weird, but like I cared for. I was happy for you, and like I said, this was the
Appreciate
first
it.
time I saw someone that I saw as a peer and not as my competition. I saw you as a peer, and I was so happy when you were growing. And I'm like, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this, and I'm gonna send this to you 1 year down the line because you were going from 100 views a day all the way up to 185,000 views in a single day in January of 2021. And that is what's possible for anyone out there that is, a YouTube creator, that maybe you're like me and you're only pulling 100 views a day or even 50 or even less. That it is totally
But
possible if you persevere and keep going.
here's the thing though, like you're not small at all. Like you have like 2,000 subscribers. Like that's fucking nuts. Like, and the thing is, like, I have this problem all the time, um, where I don't take a step back and look at what I've accomplished. You gotta take a step, bro. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel down, with my YouTube channel, and I struggle to move forward. And something that my friends and I do is like we would just take some time to like take a big step backwards and like look at what we did in 1 year. 1 year from today, I got to meet Colin and Samir. They became my mentors. I hit 100,000 subscribers. There's a plaque right there.
Yeah.
I like I met some of the greatest people on YouTube that have inspired me and taught me so much. And I think the most important thing about this year, or about the year overall, was like the amount that I matured as an artist and as a businessman. Like, I could do things that I never thought I would do. I could say no now. I can say no to people. I can like not respond to people that are like that I feel pressure to respond to because I feel like I needed to take an opportunity. Like, I can do shit like that. I can be fully confident in myself and have that like over the top Kanye ego. Maybe not so much Kanye ego, but like you know what I mean. Like, and like I don't have to worry about that. I'm like proud of that shit. Like, you take a step back and like see how much you've learned in 1 year, uh, as a curious and motivated person, and you realize that like you're moving places. Like, same with you, you know, like I don't know. I don't think we do that enough
Hmm.
as people that want to. We're just constantly searching for more success and more. Um, just take a step back and see how far you've gone. You
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, and it's not like another thing too is like I'm not like this super weird dude that has pictures of other people. I also have a lot of pictures of myself. I have pictures of when I got my first like 250 subscribers when I first hit my first
I have that too,
10,000
man.
views. Yeah, and I use that as a reminder for perspective, right?
I have.
Hey, there you go. For when you're feeling down, I like it. I feel like that's so important to give you perspective because you're going to become
Yeah.
desensitized to the success, right? And I want to constantly remind myself of where I came from and who I am and not let these numbers and analytics, like get to me. And I love having these little files I can look back at it, as motivation. Oh, this is where Ryan came from, and or this is where I was like just a year ago, and this is where I am now. And
That's
even
dope.
even with this move, that I'm doing, like I mentioned that I'm moving right now, I've had this big goal, this dream of building a YouTube studio in my basement. And hopefully, with this move, I'm going to be able to do that. And I've been trying to find a house that has a basement that's unfinished. So it's just all just concrete and open walls with
You
insulation.
gotta record that,
Yeah.
man.
And I'm going to, I have a dream of building it into a studio where I have not only my desk and computer and cameras, but a proper podcast station. And I'm just going to go for my dream. And if that means I have to work as a courier on the side, 25 hours a week, I'm more than willing to do that until I can, get to this realization of what I want to do with the rest of my life.
How confident are you that you're gonna make it? I'm just curious. I'm like, yeah, like I'm really curious.
So when I started, I had very, very little confidence because I had low self esteem. But it wasn't until recently when I started seeing a lot more results. And I think it's the feedback because I started doing two live streams every month for about like 2 hours, like long live streams. And I've had like a good five ish people come, sometimes 10. And they've really given me confidence with this vision that I've had. And I went from medium confident, like, yeah, maybe I'll get there, maybe I have this like dream that I want to do, to now I'm like, I'm getting there. I'm 100% getting there. I'm so
That's
confident in my
dope.
ability, not because I think I'm an amazing content creator. It's because my the one of the best things that I have is like my drive and my experience. It's like those are
Yeah,
some of the things that are one of my biggest attributes, is like the work ethic and the drive to go after what I love. And I'm not afraid, to do things that people think are wrong. I'm not afraid of judgment from my parents or my peers or my coworkers. And the thing is, my coworkers have found my YouTube channel now. It's very bizarre because I'll come in and they'll have their phone and they'll have my video playing and they'll be like, "Oh, look at me. I'm Derek. I want to be a YouTuber." And it's like this big laughing joke and I'm like a laughing stock, right? I'm like, okay, before it bothered me, right? Because it's like it hurts your feelings, right? But now I'm like, okay, I'm like, keep laughing. Maybe a year, maybe two. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna make this thing, and I'm just gonna go for it.
I've we have like had this YouTube group like of creators that we kind of all grew up with. Like it was a small YouTube community. It's been 2 years now, right?
Mhm.
Since like I've kind of discovered you guys, and like only a few people are left posting
Yeah,
consistently.
I noticed that too. A lot of like quit, right?
Yeah, a lot of people have stopped. A lot of familiar names, like I would check back on them, and they're not creating stuff anymore.
Hmm.
Um, I think at this point, like the people that are there for the long run.
Mm.
I mean, 2 years, bro, that's a long ass time. it's a lot of time spent in creating your own business and trying to do your own shit. Like I went, I was, I'm not a guy that likes to travel a lot, but my friend kind of pushed me to go out and travel and meet people.
Hmm.
And I met this guy. I met several people along my trips because we would live with subscribers,
Oh, that's cool.
and they're just yeah, and they're just complete strangers. They're
Hmm.
complete strangers. We went to Turkey, lived with subscribers, met some people in Qatar and Argentina. We got to meet some people, and in the Montana trip, all and I had such a like pessimistic mindset uh, after the summer, which is in a terrible place. I was like, I'm putting in so much effort. I have such good intentions, and like it feels like all I'm doing is hurting my friends and like not succeeding. And I had like stopped believing in everything. Like I stopped believing in the good of the world. I was like, yeah, like my mom's right, my dad's right. Like there's luck in all of this. Like what if I'm just one of those unlucky people that are talented that will never ever succeed? Like
Hmm.
there's a possibility that that might happen. Like I actually don't matter in this world. I am going I can get hit by a car tomorrow and everything that I was building towards doesn't fucking matter, right? And I just had this such a cynical, pessimistic mindset. And to this day, I'm like, yeah, still tomorrow I can die and like, fuck, nothing will matter, right? But instead of just leaving it at that, being able to see and surround myself with curious individuals, with people that are constantly pushing themselves to create things and to do stuff that provides value to the world. And all of these people that live in Turkey, the Turkish lira, which is the currency that they use, it's crashing. Like the
Hmm.
currency is shit. In Argentina, the currency, they don't even save their money in pesos. They save their money in US dollars or crypto. Like these people are in terrible situations, far worse than I am. And I met this guy named Tahir and he's struggling. He wants to move to Canada to find better opportunities. He had to sell everything. He had to sell his car, he had to sell everything. Um, and he's a top executive at well, the second largest chocolate factory, the second largest chocolate maker, and he's only getting paid $500 a month because he's Turkish.
Yikes.
Like, but to hear his story and to hear his ambition to move to Canada, uh, and by the way, he just got accepted into a school in Canada, which means that he has the ability to be a resident there.
All right. Good
Um,
for him.
and to hear stories like yours and to hear stories like my friends, like it looks like a lot of us like are just nobodies right now that are just trying to chase the dream, but the fact that we are doing that like means something to the world, and that is already positive, you know.
Hmm.
um and sure, we might not succeed in whatever, but like um that following the dream is the dream, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And that's the positive outlook that I've had. Like everyone that I've met throughout this YouTube journey that is curious, that is motivated, I like always leave with this satisfaction of like this person is going to make it. This person is going to be satisfied with his life. Like I can leave trusting that you are going to be satisfied with your life, and I'm not going to have that pessimistic view on the world where it's like the world is shit, like I might not succeed, like, and the world is just bad in that way.
Hmm.
I don't know if it made any sense there, but like that's that's kind of what I've learned from traveling and meeting a bunch of people. Like all these people that are curious, hardworking, motivated, they're already living their dreams. So uh I should just keep doing my own thing. Like, and I feel comfort knowing that you're already living out your dream.
Hmm. All right. Well said, man. If you ever want to come to Canada, let me know. Maybe you can come be the first to visit the studio that will hopefully be built
Yeah,
one day.
dude. 100%.
We're not too far, right? Because you're in Long Island, right? Are you
I'm
still in
not
Long
far at
Island?
all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I honestly, I think my friends and I were thinking about visiting Canada
Hmm.
for something. But so yeah, who knows?
Hey man, if you ever do, let me know. You're a super interesting dude, and I'm super
Thank you,
happy
man.
for all your success. Let's wrap up the podcast. That was super
Fun.
awesome.
That
How
was fun.
about you tell the people where you can find your work, website,
Uh,
Patreon, YouTube channel, all that stuff.
Rhining Films on YouTube, Instagram. I'm mostly just on YouTube and Instagram. You could check out my Patreon, Rhining Films. Um, yeah, that's it. Ryan Eng, it's just two letters. Eng is NG. So
Oh yeah, yeah. For
I know
anyone
people get
listening.
confused by that. So
Well, hopefully one day this podcast will blow up, and I can try to bring something back to you. And I'm super grateful
dude, it
and
will.
happy
It
that you're
will.
on the pod.
Whatever it is that you're doing, like it honestly, like all this stuff that you might be doing right now, like it might change, but like you will find that thing,
Hmm.
that you love. I
Hmm.
don't know. It'll be there.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I'm hopeful and confident at the same time.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah.
You're already living the dream, man. You're already living the dream.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful every day that I can do what I love, and I wake up with good health and good friends and good family and having good
Yeah, dude.
conversation. It's a blessing, right? I'm super thankful for
100%.
everything that I have.
Yeah, dude.
All right, bro, that was awesome. Thanks again for being on the pod. Everyone, check out Ryan, check out his work, check out his channel, subscribe. He's a great, talented content creator, and I had an awesome conversation. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, dude. All right, man.
Peace, peace.